Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I'm thesmithied and today we're going to revisit the best way to get some zetas. When starships were launched, I released a video called The Best Way to Get Zetas, and I wanted to really give an updated video today, not only in my opinion of what I've been doing, the best way in my opinion, and how I can help beginners and experts within this game. With the release of Rogue One and the growing features in the game, we've had a lot of players join our community, and the question that I do get asked on almost a daily basis, what is a Zeta? A Zeta is a new ability material. This material can be found in fleet arena shipments and fleet commander events. Okay, I got that, but what does it do? It's a rare material used to upgrade characters' abilities beyond level 80. Hey, but instead of me telling you, let me show you an example.
Your thoughts betray you, Father. I feel the good in you, the conflict.
To understand the Zeta material, we have to have a look what effect this can have in the long run on the game. How you progress in starships is also going to have an effect of how you progress in the arena, the AAT raid and the rancor. For most it's not clear on how it would affect, but I'll give you a small insight of how it works. At the moment you could be getting top in the arena and receiving daily crystals, and currently nobody on your shard, or maybe a few, has some Zeta leader abilities. As time progresses, more Zeta abilities will be released and it will give more of a deep bench of a roster, very similar to how mods work and the importance it has on the arena. A Zeta ability could mean in the winning or losing of a battle. You also have the AAT raid and the rancor, where a Zeta ability can mean in the difference from scoring 1 million to 3 million. This could also mean if you've got guild members in your guild with Zeta abilities and you do not have none, this could mean where your ranking is determined within the AAT raid and the rancor, meaning that you're going to get less loot. So that's less valuable gear, then it's going to put a damper on your progression. Again, this then comes back to the arena of where it determines where your rank's going to be. If you're not receiving that gear, if you're not receiving those daily crystals, it's then going to make your progress of up-gearing a character a lot longer than it can usually take. That brings me to acquiring the Zetas, and there is two methods you can get these Zetas. The first one would be ignoring your starship's progression and going after the Zetas directly. Let's say for argument's sake you do decide to go this route and you decide to neglect your ship so bad that you're outside the top 500, which is going to give you a daily allowance of fleet tokens of 800. 20 Zetas is going to cost you 40,000 fleet tokens, so that's going to take you 50 days to farm on this method. After this 50 days is up, you are then going to be able to Zeta one of your characters, but the biggest problem is, with this game changing how it does, more Zeta abilities being released in the game, you can put onto a character that is no longer relevant or does not fit your needs. This is something a lot of players can experience in the standard arena with chasing the meta. Within the same scenario, let's have a look at it on a larger scale. We're still using the same basis that you're receiving 800 fleet tokens per day and you are buying Zetas as soon as you can. So that's going to give you in a year 140 Zetas, so that means you can pretty much level up 7 Zeta abilities. We're going to keep this number aside and we're going to come back to it because we're going to move on to scenario 2. Let's say within scenario 2 that you have put some attention into your ships but not enough to unlock the Zeta challenge, so you're ranking around about the 101 mark to the 200, which is then providing you with 1200 fleet tokens on a daily basis. This is then going to allow you to pick up 20 Zetas within 33 days compared to the previous 50 days of the first scenario. Based over a year, you're going to be able to receive, using this method, 220 Zetas, so that's going to be pretty much 11 Zeta abilities compared to the first scenario, which is 7. The biggest issue with scenario 1 and 2, it does not take into an account any future content that may come into this game, including any raids that require a 7-star ship or any new mechanics that require you to have a certain level of ships to unlock them. Let's say a starship raid like the Death Star is released and it does drop as rewards Zeta materials, new materials, and it also drops important gear to not only your starships but the arena. With the scenario 1 and 2, you could easily find yourself that you're not able to compete within this raid and you're not prepared for the new content. This is purely speculation, but can you honestly say that starships won't have any future content? So let's have a look at scenario 3, and scenario 3 is the method that I am currently using. In scenario 3, we're going to use the same payout of the 101 to 200, which greatly, if you do work on your ships, your rank will increase, but we're going to do it for argument's sake, and you're receiving that 1200 on a daily basis. With that 1200 that we receive on a daily basis, we're going to be putting into our starships for the next 3.5 months. This is going to allow us to compete in the Zeta challenge. And in this scenario, there is a possible of 12 zetas that you can get per week, but it's very, very unlikely anybody actually ever gets that. So we're going to put the scenario that you're able to receive 3 per week. This would work out once we start acquiring zetas. You're going to be getting around about 32 zetas every 33 days. Over the space of the remaining year, you're going to be looking at around about 256 zeta materials compared to scenario 2 that has 220. Remember, this also includes that we was not farming any zetas whatsoever for 3.5 months. So let's recap on the scenarios. Within scenario 1, you'd be obtaining 7 zeta abilities per year. Then on scenario 2, you'd be receiving 11, and on scenario 3, you would be receiving 12. Scenario 3 can be greatly sped up and doesn't necessarily mean it takes 3.5 months, it is just using as a pure example. It personally took me around about a month and 1 week to unlock the Zeta challenge. After I unlocked the challenge and dead on 1 month and 7 days today, I have received 42 Zeta materials. On top of that, I am still farming the Slave 1 and the Scimitar from the fleet shipment and using the rest of my tokens to buy Zetas. So let's talk about the challenge and the requirements and really how to prepare for it. To compete in the Zeta ability challenge, you're going to also need the Executrix, which is Tarkin's capital ship, and you're going to need to have this ship at 5 stars. To unlock this capital ship, you're going to need to have 5 4-star Darkside ships. Once you have obtained the 5-star Tarkin capital ship, you're going to need to have an additional 8 times 5-star ships to compete in the Zeta challenge. The way that I approached this is I went after characters that I don't normally have, like Darkside characters. For example, Darth Maul can be picked up in the guild shipments, so can Sunfac. You don't really want to be farming those sort of characters from the fleet shipments because you want to be getting their ships from there. I was heavily using the fleet shipment store and the Galactic War to get a lot of blueprints for my ships, and I was working on most characters like TIE Fighter Pilot, Sunfac, Darth Maul, and I was then gaining Slave 1, the Scimitar that are only available in the fleet shipment, whereas Galactic War does have characters for ships like Biggs, Wedge, Ahsoka, Sunfac, so you can still pick up a good amount of ships from there. My suggestion on a pilot would be the First Order TIE Fighter pilot. He is only available in the hard nodes, but he is definitely worth picking up and working on him because he could be a long grind. For the Zeta challenge, if you are wanting to 3-star it, you are going to need to put a lot of gear into your characters and star them as much as you can, but there is no minimum requirement of what star your character is to go into your starship. What I'm doing currently, because I've got 5-star ships, I am working on them to take them to 6-star, so I'm using mostly the Galactic War tokens to get the ships that are available in there. Then I'm using the fleet tokens to not only get some Zetas, but I'm also using them to get the Slave 1 and the Scimitar. So what scenario or method is fitting for you? Which do you currently use and who are you currently farming? Let me know in the comments below. If you have liked this video and found it helpful to you or your guildmates, then please make sure that you do leave the thumbs up on this video and please share. Thank you very much for watching today. I'm thesmithied. May the force be with you always.